Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. It's October 12th, 2016. Front page news this afternoon. The CEO of Wells Fargo has resigned. In recent weeks, he's been under heavy criticism in the media due to a supposed scandal by Wells Fargo. The allegations are they created millions of fake accounts to generate essentially fraudulent revenue. Why do companies do things such as this? Because we live in a world where our market is a giant Ponzi scheme. All corporations, such as Wells Fargo, have to generate a constant return, an ever increasing return. And when you think about it, it's pretty much mission impossible. That's why these corporations that rule over us, they rule over us with accounting fraud, scandals, things such as what we're being told about in this. The thing is, what people don't get is this scandal in the media is in very much part of an agenda, a major hoax in a way. This scandal, Wells Fargo, it's their decline, but at the same time, it's Bank of America, JP Morgan Chase's gain. And those are the two major banks that almost everyone banks at this day and age in the United States of America. There's a few other ones, including Wells Fargo. In recent years, with the housing crisis and the scandals that went on, a lot of local big banks got shut down, and JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, they bought out these smaller banks. Like up here in the Pacific Northwest, there used to be a bank called Washington Mutual. I saw recently that Washington Mutual is restarting in Arizona, which is funny. But anyway, it used to be the bank that was up here after the whole housing crisis, which was all orchestrated on purpose too. After that, because of supposed fraud, Washington Mutual got shut down, and what happened? Just JP Morgan Chase took over every single Washington Mutual. And they already had a ton of banks up here, you know? It's like the Starbucks of banks, they're on every corner. So anyway, all of these scandals in the media, they are just brought to our attention so that we go along with the agenda going, oh, well, I guess that's why every bank's Bank of America and JP Morgan Chase now. They must be the only honest banks. In reality, they're the banks that really perpetuate the root of the problems because they're already the biggest. But because they're so big and because they're owned by the gang that runs your media and your government, you get the narrative always from their perspective. Eating up all their competition, if you even want to call it that. Really, they're all in bed together, all these banker tyrants. So anyway, let me show you how the false narrative transpires, why this headline's coming today, and why they keep using the same image of the CEO with his right hand up in bandages, supposedly injured. This is all part of a riddle, a mocking of the masses of what's really going on in this world. So check this out. Why today is the CEO resigning? A very specific reason it is today. Wells Fargo CE out. It's October 12th, 2016. Today's date in numerology is 58. 58. Like Freemasonry, like secret society, like United States, like so many important things in this nation. NASA came out that year. The Twilight Zone had its pilot episode that year about putting a man on the moon. Rod Serling equals 58. Special number. The word CEO through the Jewish Gematria format also sums to 58. No coincidence the CEO is resigning on this specific date. No doubt a Freemason. If you're in a high place in this world, you are connected through Freemasonry. This is the network that runs things. You go back in history, the original bankers of this world were connected to Freemasonry. They were the Knights Templar. Because why were they the original bankers? Because they had the warfare skills, they had the armor, they had the equipment, they had the ability, they were in the place to provide protection for people's financials. Knights Templar, original bankers, Freemasonry bankers running the world. This is how it all began. So anyway, check this out. With regards to his hand being up, let me show you his birthday real quick so you know when his birthday is. He was born September 15th, 1953. That's a date with 96 numerology, a life lesson number of 42, the word Freemason, the small way 42, the big way 96, very special numbers to Freemasonry. Also a date with 33 numerology, the Master Mason number of Freemason obsession. Just show you real quick about this headline. This was the same picture used on the date September 27th, 2016. There's a reason they're putting this image before us. The date of this story was a date with 52 numerology matching the gematria of his name. Wells Fargo CEO forfeits $41 million. They said that was half of his annual salary. Think about that. $82 million a year. If you made $50,000 per year, you would have to work for about 1,600 years to make that much money. More than that. He forfeited half in the wake of a scandal, you know? He still gets to keep $41 million. That's the joke. But it's just a joke, you guys. USA equals 41. 41's the 13th prime. It's just more Freemason coding. Sorry. Loud motorcycle driving by if you can hear that. So, from his September 15th birthday to today is 27 days. And there's this verse in Matthew about the right hand. It's Matthew 5:30. He was born in 53. I want to show you how this article begins too, written about him today. Right away, it says up here, the Wells Fargo boss is out in the wake of a national uproar that erupted after regulators accused the banks of creating more than 2 million fake bank and credit card accounts to generate false revenues. The company admitted to firing 5,300 workers over several years. 5,300. 5-3. The word religion equals 53. We're talking about Matthew, a religious text, the Holy Bible. So anyway, from his birthday to today's news, his resignation, 27 days. A fateful number. The New Testament, the part that the Christians go by, begins with Matthew, the first book of the New Testament. The New Testament's 27 books in length. Matthew equals 27. We're talking about Matthew 5:30. And if thy right hand offend thee, cut it off, and cast it from thee. For it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not that thy whole body should be cast into hell. The people who rule over us, this is what it's all about. They've been controlling humanity with fear, intimidation, mechanisms, currency, economies, rules, regulations, laws, religious texts, TVs, radios, newspapers. It's all been orchestrated by the same gang. This gang that rules over us, it didn't happen overnight. It's been happening because a gang of people have been working together, exploiting humanity, taking advantage of, the things that can be taken advantage of in we people, such as fear. So much of this world is based on fear and intimidation and follow or else. So here we're getting this picture of a CEO resigning because he screwed up. He created these fraudulent accounts, faking revenue. You could say that's stealing, a form of theft. He's got the right hand up. They keep using this image of it injured. Look, if you're new here, you have to understand, I've been showing for 3 years how the news, it's generated by the numbers every day. It's the Freemasons doing it. They're using the biblical text to code their propaganda, all part of the mocking. Look at this. I talked about how this man had 42 birth numerology. The original Bibles published were 42-line Bibles. Look it up if you don't know this. 42-line Bibles. Get on the Writing the Beast Gematria calculator, go to English reduction, and check this. New Testament in Gematria sums to 42. The first book of the New Testament is Matthew. Matthew begins with the 42 generations leading up to Jesus. If you read the Bible, there's a lot of 42. New Testament's 42, Freemason 42, Knowledge 42, History 42, Economics 42, Math 42, War 42, so much war in the Bible. The big G, if you go to that drop-down menu on Writing the Beast and choose the one that says English Sumerian and just put in a G, what's in the middle of the Freemason compass and square? Big G equals 42 as well. That's where you just take the alphabetic order and multiply each letter times 6. G's the 7th. 7 times 6, 42. Look at this guy, John G. Stumpf. You know what's funny about the name John G. Stumpf? I can do gematria in my head. When I first started, I could have never done this, but now I can just look at words and almost do the calculations instantly just because it's become like a reflex. Just like if you practice at anything, you'll become skilled at it. I've been doing this for 3 years straight, so now things are just automatic. I want to show you about what's up with this name that he's been going by. John G. Stumpf, in light of today's news. And there's something I need to tell you about this calculator too, in case you're new. Notice the name John G. Stumpf sums to 50. The word America equals 50. There's 50 states. What this calculator doesn't take into account is the S exception. S is worth 1 on this calculator. S can also be worth 10. If S is 10, it sums to 59. It's plus 9 more. 10 instead of 1, a difference of 9, so plus 9 more. So when you use this calculator, if there's S's in a word, for each S, you can add 9 more. The word resignation sums to 59 as well. So John G. Stumpf and resignation, this connection in Gematria. And really, I bet you this entire thing was a planned agenda rolling out by the numbers, for the sake of the bigger banks' benefit. Like I said in the beginning, when these smaller banks resign, and Wells Fargo is not small, but anytime these smaller banks resign or Wells Fargo, that market share is taken over by the other big banks in the competition. And that's what's been going on in this world for decades. Big companies taking over other big companies. When I was a teenager reading about this, waking up, there were like 15 companies in each category running the world. Now it's down to 5, 6 companies in each category, from food to media to pretty much everything. And it's shrinking, Pretty soon it's going to be 2 of each thing, then 1, then just 1 company for everything. There's this author I used to really like that I used to read when I was a teenager waking up to cheer me up, Kurt Vonnegut. He has a book written, trying to think what the name of the book's about. But that's exactly what the book's about how slowly there's this takeover and there's just 1 company left in the end and it services everything. It's pretty funny. Pretty funny. That's what today's news is all about. Plus a little biblical mocking. We're being laughed at, truth seeker. We're being laughed at. I'll show you here real quick with that word religion. Religion's got the 53 gematria. In the Catholic Church, you put 53 beads on the rosary. Rosary is one of those 33 words, Whole lot of 33 in religion. Amen, 33. So many other important words. Pretty much the entire story of Jesus is 33. We've only had 1 Catholic president in this nation. Catholics 35, the reflection of 53. That was JFK, the 35th president. This whole nation's been by the numbers. This is just the latest news story. In 3 more hours, I could put up another video with whatever the next front page news story is. And my hope is that more people just take the knowledge. My How to Gematria video is in the description, and apply it themselves. And, for those of you who come here and say, I don't believe you, I don't want you to believe me. I want you to look at what I'm teaching you, apply it, and prove it to yourself. Because like I said, in 3 hours from now, there's going to be something else up on this front page, and that'll be your first opportunity. Until next time, Encore. With regards to Bank of America's logo, this is your homework assignment. You are not allowed to stop looking at this logo until you can see the 33. The word banker in Gematria, also 33. Bank account, 33. If you can't see the 33, you're going to have to come back and look at this. I want to teach you one more thing before we go. Bank account. And check out the word banker. Notice how it sums to 24. 2 more letters you need to know about with the exceptions on the calculators. And I rarely use these, but they do exist. And I didn't make up these rules. This is how it was written. K and V are the 11th and 22nd letter. In numerology, they're the 2 numbers you do not have to break down to a single digit, 11 and 22. Some people say you don't have to break down 33, but always in numerology, you never have to break down 11 or 22. So K can be worth 11 or 2. 1 plus 1 is 2. 11 in numerology is 1 plus 1 equals 2. On this calculator, it makes K always worth 2, but K can be worth 11. So banker, 33. And V is the 22nd letter. On this calculator, V will always be worth 4. 4. But V can be worth 22. So if you have a V, you can add 18 more. You see? I'll show you a good example. The word Thanksgiving, here's what's interesting about it. Pythagorean gematria, or English reduction as this calculator calls it, sums to 60. However, there's a S, a K, and a V in this letter. S, K, and V. And if you look up the story of the original pilgrims who supposedly celebrated the first Thanksgiving, they supposedly left on the date September 6th. 9-6. Look at this. If you use the K exception and the S exception, that's plus 9 more for each one. 2 to 11, 1 to 10. And if you use the V exception, plus 18 more. So plus 18, plus 9, that's plus 36 total. Thanksgiving with the exception sums to 96, like the story about how the first pilgrims left on September 6th. And again, 42, that special number to the Freemasons, the small way 42, the big way 96. If you take the numbers that divide into 42, they sum to 96. Again, the word math's 42, and what Gematria is are languages that are built on numbering systems and mathematics, which English no doubt is. I have, approaching 2,000 videos to prove it, and another 10,000 blog posts. So, you want the knowledge? Here it is, truth seeker. Until next time.